We're in space. Hi everyone, my name's Peter, I'm the museum director, and I had, believe it or not, very little to do with actually getting our special guest here today. The person who did, Elizabeth.
Hi, we're so excited that you're here. We're so excited to have Dr. Thomas here with us. My name is Elizabeth Lamar, and I'm the Development Director for the Sequoia Parks Conservancy. How many of you have been to Sequoia National Park? Yes. Seen the biggest trees in the world, right? Okay, so we work with Sequoia National Park, and we provide educational programs, and we raise money so that the park can stay around for a really long time. Well, some of those educational programs include what we're doing this weekend, which is the Dark Sky Festival. And it's a festival all weekend long in Sequoia and Kings Canyon. And it's all about the importance of the night sky, right? Does anybody know what light pollution is? What do you think? What's light pollution? Too much light everywhere, right? So if you go up to Sequoia, I don't know about you, but when I go to Sequoia and it's nighttime, I just lay on my back and I just stare at all the stars. It's amazing. So that's what we're celebrating. We're celebrating that amazing night sky. We have astronauts, we have scientists, we have kids' activities. Tomorrow, if you don't want to head all the way up to the park, you could just go to Lake Coeette and build a bottle rocket, and they'll shoot it off for you. Right? And tonight, if you want to hear more from Dr. Thomas, we have a special presentation that he's doing at the College of Sequoia's Theater, where he talks about how a woodpecker delayed a space shuttle mission.
That sounds crazy. Are you sure?
You said it.
Is that I'm talking on that?
You're talking on that? Yeah, you're going to tell us all
I don't know.
about
It sounds too crazy, doesn't it?
So without further ado, I just want to, again, thank you for coming and introduce you to a man that I'm super excited I got to tell everybody I was hanging out with an astronaut today. Dr. Don Thomas, who's going to tell you about all of his adventures in space.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I was invited out here last year for Dark Sky Festival. It was my first visit here. I was blown away by the sky up at the park there. And it's the closest thing to seeing the sky from the space shuttle. Up in space, we're 200 miles above the Earth, but that's what the sky looks like, and it's really unique. There's not many places on planet Earth when you can see the sky as dark as you have it right here, right in your backyard. And when I saw it last year for the first time, I was wondering, like, this is the same sky that the early humans here probably saw. 10,000 years ago, this is the sky they saw. I live outside of Washington, D.C. now. And you look up at the night sky and maybe you see 10 or 20 stars. That's about it because of all the light pollution. Here, you see the Milky Way just shoots across the sky. It is such a unique experience up there. And I'm so thankful I got invited back to experience it a second time. So, thank you for this. And as you heard, my name is Don Thomas. I had the amazing opportunity to fly in space 4 times on the space shuttle. I was on Space Shuttle Columbia 3 times and Space Shuttle Discovery once. I've spent a total of 44 days up in space. And I was wondering if you could guess how many times I might have gone around the Earth in 44 days. Any guesses here? How many? 5 times around the whole planet? More than that. A little more than 5. Yeah. 1,000. You're really close. I usually start off at 5 and then go 10, 16. I went around the Earth 692 times. So I can stand up here and confidently say, I have seen all of your hometowns, wherever you've been. And what I'm going to do this afternoon, is share with you a little bit about what it's like to live and work in space. We'll talk about how we eat and sleep up there and exercise. And if you could hold your questions to the end, we'll have time for the questions. And we have time to take pictures together and things like that as well. So let me go ahead and get started. And this is a little bit about living and working in space. Now, I start with this picture. This isn't a picture of me, but it very well could have been me. I was 6 years old when the first American astronaut launched into space. That was a long time ago. It was like 57 years ago. And at my elementary school, they brought all the students to our gymnasium. I sat on the floor just like you're doing, and I watched a small black and white TV of the launch of the first American. And as soon as our astronaut was in space, I sat there and I said to myself, I want to do that. So ever since I was 6 years old, I knew I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to launch into space. I wanted to experience zero gravity. And I wanted to see sunrises and sunsets with my own eyes from space. Instead of hearing an astronaut describe it, I wanted to see that. So I always knew what I wanted to do, and it took me a long time and a lot of hard work to get there. It took me 4 tries to get into the astronaut program. The first time I applied, NASA said no. 2 years later, I tried again, and they said no. 3 years later, I applied for the 3rd time, and I made the group of 100 semifinalists, but the result was the same. They said no, and I just about gave up and said, this is too hard, they don't want me. I tried 3 times, but I really wanted to do this, so I tried a 4th time, and I made it into the program. What do you think the lesson is from that?
Don't give up. Don't give up.
Never give up. Never give up. That's the most important thing I can pass along to you today. Many of you have dreams of what you want to do in the future, after high school, after college. Don't give up on that dream. This is the dream of since I was a little boy. It took a long time, and as I told you, a lot of hard work to get there. I was 35 years old when I got selected to be an astronaut, and I started a 4-year training program for my first flight. So the very first time I made it to space, I was 39 years old. At 39 years old, that's pretty much an old man, right? No? Yes or no? This is why I love coming out here. Everybody's so kind to me. But some of the careers you will pick, it will take time to get there. So don't be discouraged and say, well, I'd like to be a teacher or a doctor or a lawyer or a scientist or a professional athlete, but I hear it takes a long time, and I hear it takes a lot of hard work. It is worth it. It's worth the patience. It's worth all the hard work you put into it. So work hard in school every single day, okay, and keep working on your dream. Never give up on that dream. So I went from that little boy just dreaming of going into space to getting assigned on 4 shuttle missions. This is the crew from my last flight, and the last time I was in space was in July of 1997, so 20 years ago. Just last week would be the anniversary of my last day in space 20 years ago. This is the crew from that mission. Typically we fly with a crew of 7 on board. We've got 2 military pilots with the helmets here that help us fly the shuttle. On the left-hand side is our commander. His name is Jim Halsell. He was an Air Force test pilot. He used to fly the SR-71 Blackbird spy plane. And then our pilot on the mission right here is Susan Still. And Susan's a pretty unique individual. Susan was only the 2nd woman to pilot the space shuttle, and Susan was one of our country's top Navy fighter pilots. So it was a great opportunity for me to fly with her on this mission. And then in the background here, we've got 5 science astronauts. We're called mission specialists. Our job is to do the science on board. We work the robotic arm on the space shuttle if there's a need for that. We deploy satellites, we do spacewalks. So we each have our area of specialty on the crew. You probably don't recognize that guy right there, huh? That's the way I used to look 20 years ago before glasses, gray hair, wrinkles, and a few pounds around the middle. Hey, no laughing about that. I heard that. I heard that back there. You didn't laugh. Yeah, you guys are so nice here. There you see the space shuttle on the launch pad. I took this picture the night before my first mission. I went out there about midnight or so. This is from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, southern United States. And I went up right to the base of the space shuttle and just stared up at it the night before launch. And as I was looking up at it, I had incredible butterflies in my stomach. You ever get butterflies? Sometimes before a big test at school or some event, you may be a little nervous and feel those butterflies. And that's the way I felt. I was a little bit nervous, a little bit scared, but mainly really excited knowing in 12 hours I'm going to be sitting inside this thing blasting off. And I almost couldn't believe where I was and what I was about to do. This big orange tank in the background is our big gas tank or fuel tank for the shuttle. This thing holds 500,000 gallons of fuel that feeds 3 engines here at the tail of the shuttle. My car holds 15 gallons of gas. I can drive 3 or 4 hours on that. This holds 500,000 gallons of fuel, and we burn it all up in only 8.5 minutes. And that gives you some idea of how much fuel and thrust it takes to fight gravity to make your way to space. And then on either side, there's two white rockets that look like two giant white pencils there. These have solid propellant, like gunpowder packed into them. These burn for the first 2 minutes of the flight, and then they drop off. We'll talk about them in a second. And here is the space shuttle itself. Built right not too far from here in Downey, California, just a little north of Los Angeles. And where is Rich? He worked over at North America during the Apollo program. And it's the same company that later on then built the space shuttles. So the space shuttle is about the size of a commercial airplane you'd see flying. And as big as that space shuttle is, it's only this tiny section in the nose, that's called the crew compartment. And that is the only area that's pressurized with oxygen for the astronauts to live and work in. It's a fairly small area, maybe about the size of your kitchen at home. And that's where 7 of us would spend 2.5 weeks in space. So they bring us out here on launch morning. We take an elevator up the side, and then there's a little access arm or bridge. We walk across that, and there's a round hatch or door where we climb inside the space shuttle. There I am in my launch suit, 3 hours before liftoff. I've taken the elevator up. In the background there, you see Space Shuttle Columbia, and they strap us into our seats one at a time. So I'm just here waiting when it's my turn to get strapped in. They'll say, hey Don, we're ready for you. I'll turn that corner, walk down that access arm, and at the end of it there, you see the round hatch for the shuttle. Before I climb on board, these two gentlemen in the white suits will help me put on the parachute. They'll check all my equipment. Once everything looks good, I get on my hands and knees and crawl inside the shuttle, and I get strapped into my seat. And we're sitting in seats similar to what our adults are sitting in the back of the room in here today, just like sitting at your desk in school. But because the shuttle is tilted upright for launch, we're not sitting upright like this, we're actually laying down on our back. So they strap us in, we've got shoulder harnesses and a seat belt. They strap us in good and tight like when you're in your car seat. Because there's a lot of shaking and vibration during launch. You don't want to bounce out of your seat and hurt yourself or damage any equipment. Say it again? Kind of like a roller coaster, but really like a car seat when you're strapped in. They got your shoulder harnesses and a seat belt, and you want to be strapped in good and tight because of all that shaking going on. And then once they have us all strapped in, they close and seal that side hatch, and then everybody moves away from us 3.5 miles. And when you realize why they just moved away from you 3.5 miles, that's another good moment to get butterflies in your stomach. They moved away in case something bad happens and this thing blows up. If you're 3.5 miles away, you're probably okay. If you're any closer than that, it could be an issue. But for the astronauts, we're ready. It's very quiet for us inside, up until 6 seconds before liftoff. At that point, the 3 engines, main engines at the tail of the shuttle start coming up to full power. We're still physically bolted down to the launch pad at that point. Computers are checking everything, and once the computers say those 3 engines look good, then we light those 2 big white solid rocket boosters. And the instant they light, immediately you take off. And laying on my back in my seat, I could hear the roar of the engines, I could feel the shaking and vibration. And right when those 2 big white rockets lit, I felt this push in my back. And it felt to me like somebody had their hand in the middle of my back, and that they were just pushing me up into the sky. And that's what the shuttle's doing, literally pushing us, tossing us up in the air. This picture is taken 4 seconds after liftoff. We're going 120 miles an hour already. So we don't ease off the launch pad. It's literally boom, and you accelerate faster and faster every second. Here's a picture taken from below. You see our space shuttle here. Those are the 3 main engines, those 3 white dots. Our 2 side rockets. Our 7 astronauts are sitting right up here, and we're heading up to space. This picture is taken from a NASA chase plane a few miles away. You see we launch right along the coastline of Florida. That little white line are the beaches there. All the blue here is the Atlantic Ocean. Those are our 2 shuttle launch pads. And the space shuttle itself is smaller than that red dot in the laser pointer. You can barely see it. But you can see the bright flame from our engines. That's about 1/4 mile long. 2 minutes into the flight, we're 25 miles up in the air already. And after 2 minutes, we're traveling at a speed of nearly 3,000 miles an hour. And our 2 side rockets have used up their fuel. They separate off to the side. These would fall back to Earth. They would land in the Atlantic Ocean about 150 miles off the coast of Florida. NASA had ships there. We would cover these, bring them back to the Kennedy Space Center where we would clean them up, load them up with new fuel, and use them again on another mission. So at this point, we have our space shuttle right there. Those 3 bright white dots are our 3 engines that are burning. This little fuzzy patch to the right is our big fuel tank, and that's going to take us the rest of the way to space. 8.5 minutes after liftoff, the engine shut down. Gets perfectly quiet for a second. Then there's a big boom. We fire some explosive bolts, and the space shuttle separates from that fuel tank. And this fuel tank would just fall back in the atmosphere and burn up like a shooting star. It's the only part of the shuttle we don't reuse. And that would leave us then with the space shuttle orbiting the Earth. It only takes 8.5 minutes to get to space. That was always amazing to me. I bet it takes most of you more than 8.5 minutes to get to school in the morning, right?
Yeah.
And you think in that short period of time, you could be 200 miles above the Earth, and at this point we're traveling at a speed of nearly 18,000 miles an hour. 18,000 miles an hour is about 5 miles a second. So think about how fast you could get home today if you could go 5 miles a second. If you live down by LA, you could probably be home in 15 seconds or so. And I came yesterday, I flew from near Washington, D.C., and it took me 5 hours on the airplane. Had I been traveling at the speed of the space shuttle, I could have gotten here in about 8.5 minutes or so. And it just takes 8 minutes across the United States as well. So really a quick trip up there. On 3 of my missions, we had a little science laboratory in the back. And during the mission, that's me and another one of the astronauts, we'd work on different science experiments. And I'll just tell you quickly about some of these. You guys are all familiar with the shape of a candle flame, right?
Yeah.
You know how it comes up to a point?
Yeah.
You know why it's shaped like that? What causes that?
Fire.
What causes it to go up to a point?
Heat rises and cold air lowers.
Right here, yeah. Heat rises and cold air lowers. And hot air is lighter, less dense, so it floats up. If we had a thermometer today and we take it up near the ceiling, it's going to be a little warmer there than down here. So it's that hot air rising around the candle flame that takes the flame up to a point. You put your hand above a candle, you feel that hot air coming up. You put your hand below it, it's much cooler. Well, in space without gravity, hot air doesn't rise. Cold air doesn't settle. So instead of a flame being drawn up to a point in space, here up in space the flame will burn perfectly round. And what you're looking at here is a little pink droplet of butane fuel. It's like what we have in a disposable lighter. And we've set it on fire, and that blue ball or halo you see there is flame burner. And it'll just float in the air. It'll burn perfectly round, just like you see here. And it'll burn up all the oxygen, and then it'll go out on its own. And scientists study things like this. They're trying to understand some of the basic fundamentals of burning and combustion. And maybe trying to figure out how pollution enters into it. How do we get incomplete burning? And maybe these experiments will help us improve our burning processes for our automobiles, our power plants, things like that. Here I've got an experiment with a little salamander here. It's called the Japanese red-bellied newt. And it would lay eggs. We put the eggs in little chambers off to the side and watch them grow and develop in zero gravity. They were very similar to frog eggs. Have you ever watched frog eggs develop into tadpoles and baby frogs? It just looked like that. We'd see gills and arms and legs and tails forming, and we just looked at them every day to see how they developed. This is Jackie Mukai. She was the first Japanese woman in space, and I flew with her on my first mission. In space, you don't walk around like we're used to doing here on Earth. When you want to move around in space, it just takes a little push with your finger, the smallest little push, and you go sailing through the air like Superman or Superwoman. And you'll keep sailing until you hit a wall or until you reach out to stop your motion. If you like doing somersaults, you can start flipping in the air. And you'll go round and round all day until you get tired and you reach out to stop your motion. So what do you think? Does it sound like fun up there? It's a blast. We have a great time just floating around in space. This is Susan, the pilot on my last flight. And Susan's typing on a laptop computer right there. And I want to point out one feature. You see how she's got her toes hooked on that vertical gold pole? If she didn't do that, every time she hit the keyboard on the computer, what do you think would happen? She would float up in the opposite direction. Exactly right. But if you anchor your toes a little bit, She can stay in position, float in the air, and type on the computer all day long. So space is a really fun, comfortable environment to be in. And in space, there's no up or down. I think we pretty much agree which way is up and which way is down in ImagineU here today, right? But in space, there is no up or down. And you know here on Earth, if you stand on your head, all the blood rushes to your head because of gravity. Have you ever felt that pressure?
Yeah.
Well, in space, without gravity, that doesn't happen. You go upside down, you feel totally normal. And in space, wherever your head is pointed, that direction is up. Wherever your feet are pointed, that's down. So this is Nancy and Kevin from my second flight. Nancy's looking at Kevin here, saying, hey Kevin, you're upside down. Well, he's looking right back at her, saying, no, you're upside down. In his little world there, she's the one that appears to be upside down. If we were in space right now, I could slowly push off here, float up there, and I could sit down up there. That would become my new floor, and I would be looking up at all of you here today saying, you're all sitting on the ceiling here. And you'd be looking up at me saying, you crazy astronaut, you're up on the ceiling. So however you orient yourself, wherever your head is pointed, that direction is up for you. And again, you never feel like you're upside down, it's everybody else in the room. So if I was in space and I went over here, and I sat down right there, where does my brain think the ceiling is in this room? Opposite wall, yeah. And as you change your orientation, your brain automatically adjusts what's up and down. So again, you never feel like you're upside down, it's everybody else. Okay, in space, we don't have a refrigerator, freezer, microwave oven, nothing like that. So all of our food is freeze-dried. And it comes in small plastic packages like I have here. And to prepare a meal, we bring it over to a food station here. There's a sharp needle that'll poke into that package. We can inject hot water. This dried hard food will absorb that water, it'll soften up, and after a few minutes it's ready to eat. We would just cut this open with a pair of scissors, and then eat it with a normal fork or spoon. All the food has a little blue dot of Velcro. Can you guys see the Velcro on there? In the back? Well, after we make our meal, we would take our food, just Velcro it to ourselves, then we can float to a window, and you watch the Earth go by, and you have your lunch or dinner right there. How handy is that? We don't use the dinner plate, because what would happen in space? It's going to float away. So everything is Velcro, we can stick it to ourselves, and these little blue squares are Velcro, just to keep things from floating away. Okay, I wanted to talk to you about drinking in space, but I need a volunteer. Would somebody be willing? You shot your hand up so quick. Come on up here. What's your name?
Jacob.
Jacob. Come right over here. Face everybody. I forgot to tell you something kind of important though. I need a volunteer who doesn't mind getting a little bit wet here today. You okay with that? Is your mom here or somebody? Where's the grandma? Is it okay if we get a little wet? Peter, is it okay?
Absolutely.
Is it okay with you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Jacob, what I have, stand right over here. What I have here, just face everybody there. What I have here is a glass of water. Now, if I took this glass of water over Jacob's head and I tip it upside down right here on Earth, what do you think would happen? It's going to spill. He's going to get mad at me. His grandmother's coming after me, I know. Peter's going to throw me out of the main. Yeah, that's a good idea. I would get kicked out of here, never invited back. I'm sure Elizabeth would never have me come back as well. But let's imagine we're in space. If we were in space, I could take this glass of water. Did you get everything out of your pockets? It's only half a cup. It was cold earlier, but I think it's warmed up here. So, hold on 1 second. Jacob, hold that. Okay, we're going to do this good and slow, all right? If we were in space, I could take this cup of water, and I'm going to do it really slow. I could tip it upside down like this.
Oh, where is it?
And nothing would happen.
Wow.
Jacob, you can look up. Okay? Without gravity, the liquid can't fall or pour out of the cup.
Because gravity could hold it upside down.
It'll just stay in that cup.
I
Okay?
feel like this may just go up.
So if you held it like that, it would still stay in the cup because it's just going to float inside there. Let's give him a round of applause. So the point is, you can't drink out of a glass or bottle in space. If I had this bottle of water in space, I take the top off, I tip it upside down to get a drink. Nothing will happen. Again, without gravity, that liquid doesn't fall or pour out of the bottle. So in space, we drink out of little foil pouches like I have here. This is a bag of powdered orange juice. We've got powdered lemonade, powdered coffee, powdered tea. And to prepare a drink, we bring it to that food station. The needle pokes in there. We inject the water. You mix it up a little bit with your fingers. You poke a straw in there, and then you just squeeze it into your mouth. Does that remind you of anything that may be in your lunch some days?
Oh, like a
A Capri Sun. Any of the juice bags or juice boxes, but just like the aluminum bag of a Capri Sun, that's exactly how we drink in space. And over here is a bag of lemonade one of the astronauts made, and they just velcroed it to the wall to keep it from floating away. Okay. In this picture, I've got a bag of tropical punch in my hand. Have you guys ever had tropical punch? It's like red juice. You can see the red straw right there. And I squeezed the bag of punch, and some of it got away from me. And what looks like a little red golf ball in front of my face there is actually a blob of tropical punch. Any liquid in space forms a perfectly round ball, and it'll just float there in front of you. You can go up to it and gobble it down. Our more polite astronauts will take a straw, they poke it in there, and then you can drink it, and you'll see that blob get smaller and smaller and smaller and disappear. Okay. Now, exercise is really important in space. As I stand up here in front of you today, I'm using my leg muscles to walk around and fight gravity. But in space, it's a little push with my finger and I sail through the air. And everything is weightless in space. I can lift this car over here with one finger in space. I can lift your car at home with one finger. So we don't use our muscles at all, and exercise is really important. So we had this bicycle we ride every day for about 45 minutes. You get your heart muscle going, get your leg muscles working, so that when you come back to Earth at the end of the mission, you're still in good shape. Some of the astronauts used to make a big deal about it. They would say, I want to bicycle across the Pacific Ocean. And if you ever hear that claim, don't be too impressed. It only takes about 15 minutes. Sleeping in space is a little different. The inside of the space shuttle is pretty small, maybe the size of your kitchen at home, and we don't have dedicated bedrooms. So when it was time to go to bed, we would take a sleeping bag, and we'd attach it to the wall with a few clips that you see there. And then you just float up there, slip inside, you zip it up, and you go to bed.
Like on mountain climbing.
We wear, like I'm mountain climbing a lot, we wear these dark eye shades here because we go around the Earth every hour and a half. And we get 45 minutes of daytime, 45 minutes of nighttime. If you don't want the sun coming in your eyes all the time, you need to wear the eye shades. And you see how our astronaut has his arms crossed like this? You know, here on Earth with gravity, if I totally relax, my arms are going to fall to my side. But in space, if you totally relax, the natural position of the body is a little hunched over, and the arms tend to come up and float right there. So can you imagine you wake up in the morning, you open your eyes, and the first thing you see are two hands floating in front of your face? Our astronauts are not that brave, so we tuck our arms in like you see here. And the real reason we do it, there's a lot of cables and switches off to the side. You don't want your arm in the middle of the night floating over there, bumping a switch, hitting a cable, doing any damage. So we get nice and snug, just as you see here. Okay. Now for cleaning up in space, we don't have a bathtub, we don't have a shower, we don't even have a sink like you have in your kitchen or bathroom at home. So when it comes time to clean up, we've got some of these drink bags that I showed you. And instead of having powdered juice in these, a few of these will have powdered soap. And we can add hot water, you mix up a bag of hot soapy water, you put it on a washcloth, and you give yourself a sponge bath. That's how we clean up in space. For washing your hair, we have this special shampoo that you see here. It's called No Rinse Shampoo. And this was developed for people in the hospital who can't get out of bed to take a shower. It's very easy to use, doesn't require any water. All you do is put some of that shampoo in your hair, you work up a lather, and then you take a towel and pat it dry and you're done. I took this picture, I love the bottom line of the bottle right there. It's a little hard to read, but it says, for beautifully clean, full-bodied hair. And I want to share with you what that looks like in space. That's Susan, our pilot. Anybody with longer hair, it's going to float all over in space. I'm not picking on Susan, even my short hair floats all over in space. We say that every day in space is a bad hair day, and that's pretty accurate. I'm thinking about showing you the granddaddy of all bad hair days in space, but I want to make sure you're ready for this. You ready for this?
Yeah!
Are you sure?
Yeah!
Okay, hold on. Right there. This is Marshall Idmans, one of our shuttle astronauts. She flew on 5 space shuttle missions. She had really long hair, as you see here. She wouldn't leave it like this normally during the mission, otherwise for the rest of us it would be like scuba diving or swimming. She put it in a ponytail, but just did that for a picture. You guys know what this is? Skip this one. Skip it. If you don't want to hear about it, you can put your fingers in your ear. This is the toilet on board the space shuttle. It's in a small closet area, maybe 4 feet across and 5 feet high. It has a curtain that goes across the front like a shower curtain for privacy. And it's got a white toilet seat there like our toilets on Earth. But here on Earth, we use gravity to collect the waste material, right? What do you think might happen in space? We're not going to talk about that in here today. So this toilet is kind of like a porta potty. You may see it at a football game or a construction site. And in the bowl part of the toilet right there, we have giant fans. And to go to the bathroom, there's a little white knob off to the side. You push that forward. It activates those fans and it sucks air from the toilet seat downward. So we use that down rush of air to act like gravity to keep all the waste material down. There's a couple places here in the front to put your feet into, to anchor yourself down so you're not floating all over. And I'm pretty sure that's more than you needed to know here today.
Where does it go?
Where does it go? This is like a porta potty that it just stays down in the bowl of the toilet.
The whole trip.
The whole trip. It's a space shuttle mission would be 2.5 weeks. And then at the end of the mission, it's like having an RV, and every now and then you got to clean out the potty. And at the end of the mission, they would have to clean us out.
Okay.
On the space station today, we don't bring our toilets back down, but at the base here, they have like a garbage can type container that fills up, and when that fills up, they take that one out and put a new one in there, so you don't have to keep bringing the toilet
So
back.
you put it in space?
Say it again?
Yeah.
So you put the thing and bring that under there?
And once those canisters are filled up, we put it inside of a capsule that's coming back to Earth, and then it burns up in the atmosphere. Okay? All right. And in space, everything floats up there. So if you're brushing your teeth and you want to rinse out your mouth, you can let go of your toothbrush and toothpaste and float across the space shuttle, get a drink of water, and when you come back, it'll be floating there right where you let go of it. So you could never lose your homework up in space. You guys never do that. Okay. We'll wrap it up by showing you some pictures of the Earth. And whenever an astronaut has a free moment, we would float to the window to watch the Earth go by. I've got a map in my hand here. I'm trying to figure out where we are around planet Earth. And I'm looking out one of the windows here towards the tail end of the shuttle. And I took a camera right up to that window, I pressed it against the glass, and I took a picture so you can see exactly what my eyes are seeing. And this is the view I get to see out the back of the shuttle.
Whoa!
So there's the beautiful blue Earth from 200 miles up. All the blue here in this image is the Pacific Ocean. The white area are puffy clouds. And this is Baja California looking south. That's the west coast of the mainland of Mexico. So San Diego would just be the upper right-hand corner of that
That looks
picture.
like a little marble.
And if you look carefully, you may see a little thin blue line at the bottom edge of the Earth.
That's the atmosphere.
How do you know?
atmosphere.
We have some very smart kids here. That is our atmosphere. And that is what our atmosphere looks like from space. Here on Earth, we look up at that blue sky, it looks like it goes on forever and ever. But from space, when you see our atmosphere edge on, it looks just like you see here, like a paper-thin layer. Most of the air protecting us here on planet Earth is in that first 20 miles. And that's about it. Which is why when we pollute the air, it can have such a major impact on our planet. Anybody know what this is? It looks like a tornado, but this is a hurricane, a big storm. This is over the Pacific Ocean. This was a huge storm about 400 miles across. And we flew right over the center of it there. Does anybody know what that's called? The eye of the hurricane. And from 200 miles up, I could go to the window, look straight down, look right into the eye, and see the blue water of the Pacific Ocean. It's really amazing to see that. The next picture will show you that eye looking straight into it from directly overhead, right down. Does that look like an eye a little bit?
Yeah.
That's about 15 miles across. And in the eye of a hurricane, you get very light winds here, just a few mile-an-hour breeze, but at just 7 or 8 miles away, this is the eye wall. And this one had wind speeds of about 135 miles an hour, a really powerful hurricane. It's a little dark here, but this is a volcano venting steam in the South Pacific. Here's a volcanic crater half underwater. These are all volcanic islands in that part of the world. So these volcanoes start at the bottom of the ocean, and they grow larger and larger until they poke through the surface like this one's doing, and then sometimes they grow into big islands that people can live on, like Hawaiian Islands or Japanese islands. And these are the Himalaya Mountains. And right here at the center, this is Mount Everest. Anybody heard of Mount Everest? It's the tallest mountain on planet Earth. So right there is the very top of Mount Everest. Now, I can stand up here in front of you and tell you without lying, I have seen the top of Mount Everest with my own eyes about 25 times during my missions. I'm sensing you're not too impressed by this. I usually get a better reaction. But I call it the lazy man's way to see the top of Mount Everest, right? No climbing involved, just cruising overhead at 18,000 miles an hour as I drink my juice. But I use this picture to illustrate some of the things I got to see and do during my career. I've never climbed Mount Everest, never will in my lifetime, but I've seen the top of it with my own eyes many times. I've seen the Great Barrier Reef off Australia. I've seen the Amazon rainforest down in Brazil and South America. And I've seen Mount Kilimanjaro, big volcanic peak poking up through the clouds. So many amazing sights on planet Earth. Yeah?
I've been on the Mount Everest roller coaster.
You've been on a Mount Everest roller coaster? Is it scary? It's probably almost as fast as the space shuttle.
I've been
Okay.
on a Skyliner before.
Anybody recognize this beautiful part of planet Earth? California. I think you're right. Let's put in a few landmarks there. Yeah. We got Sequoia National Park right here and Kings Canyon. And that's what it looks like from space. Really beautiful. And this is a sunrise from space. Because we go around the Earth every hour and a half, we see 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets every 24-hour day. And they're all a little different depending on volcanic dust and clouds. And again, from space, you see how thin our atmosphere is. That orange blue layer you're looking at in this picture is only about 20 miles thick. Okay, at the end of the mission, then it's time for us to come home. We would fire 2 engines from the tail of the shuttle. It would slow our speed down from about 18,000 miles an hour to 17,000 miles an hour. And it sounds like we're still going fast, but at that speed, gravity takes over and we begin our fall back to Earth. And we would fire those engines halfway around the world, out over the Indian Ocean. And the shuttle would fall as we cross the Pacific. It would fall as we cross the United States. It would pass over Bakersfield many times. You might have heard the sonic booms. It goes like that when it would pass overhead. And then we cross the United States, and we would end up landing back at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Many of the early shuttle missions, we landed at Edwards Air Force Base down by Mojave, not too far from here. But all 4 of my flights landed back in Florida. We would touch down like an airplane. We would deploy this drag parachute out the back to help slow us down. And then we just put the brakes on and roll to a stop. And then we just sit there and wait for them to open the hatch so we can get out. And it takes them about an hour before they open the hatch and you can come out. And when you first come back from space, you feel like you weigh about 2,000 pounds. Because you've been floating around weightless for 2 weeks, and then suddenly you come back to this pull of gravity. Just a normal pull we all feel in here today, but it felt so heavy for me. My arms were heavy, my legs were heavy, I was a little dizzy when I got back. And it took about a day or so for that dizziness to go away, and maybe a week to get your muscle strength back to normal. And then you're pretty much back to what you normally feel. So this picture was taken 2 hours after I landed on my very first mission. That's me right here. And after we took this picture, I remember I turned around and I looked up at the word Columbia. And I was just staring back at my space shuttle there, and I thought, what an amazing vehicle this space shuttle is. You know, this was my house in space for 2 weeks. This thing protected me from that fiery re-entry coming into the atmosphere. And then one of the next thoughts that popped into my head was, I gotta do this again. Have you ever been on one of the great roller coasters at Disneyland or one of the other theme parks? Do you ever ride on the roller coaster, you get off, you run around, get back around, and do it again immediately?
Yeah.
I do that all the time. That's exactly how I felt as soon as I landed on my first mission. I knew I wanted to do this a few more times, and I went to fly a total of 4 missions into space. So that's a little bit about living and working in space. Why don't we take some questions
I
here?
have one. You've been up, what, 4 times?
4 times.
From the first time to the last time, did you notice the atmosphere disintegrating? I'm asking about climate change, obviously.
My missions were in a very short period of time. I flew 4 times in about 3 years and a few months. I hold the record with another astronaut, the most flights in the shortest period of time. So over 3 years, you can't see the difference. But I saw a few things, like we would pass over South America. And you probably heard in the Amazon, they're cutting and burning the rainforests. They cut the trees, they set them on fire, they clear out new agricultural land to make new cities. And I'd always heard that they were doing that. But on my first flight, the entire continent of South America was under a smoke bomb. And then I realized it's not just affecting a small part. Just like the fires in Yosemite, it's not just affecting Yosemite, right? It's coming right down the valley here. So what happens in one part of the planet, it affects an entire continent and probably the whole planet. So things like that I could see with my own eyes. There was a huge dust storm off the Sahara, and I saw that dust coming across the Atlantic Ocean. And it came nearly all the way across, right around the Bahamas, the dust fizzled out. But that's one of the main nutrients for the rainforests in South America is dust from the Sahara. So you start to see some of these global processes, going on our planet. So you see how interconnected everything is. And that's why everybody's got to take better care of this planet, because it's all we have. This is the only place we know of life that will sustain life. So we have to take better care of it. How about a question here? Grant, right? Is that the name? Yeah. Have I ever seen a tornado from space? And I showed you the hurricane right from above. A tornado drops down from the clouds. So we could never see it from space. What you would see from space, I'll go back to that tornado picture here, you just see the white clouds. And there could be tornadoes embedded in a hurricane, but they drop down to the surface and we're looking up on top. So all we see is the top layer. Okay? So we could never see a tornado from space, because that comes down. How about over here?
Is there aliens in space?
Is there aliens in space? I just drove through Baker, California yesterday. I stopped at the alien jerky store there. Have you ever been there? So let me tell you the story. Peter, is it okay if I...
Go ahead.
Okay. Let me tell you the story, but you got to promise me it stays in this room. My first mission, my first day in space, I'm looking out the window. The sky is pitch black. And I'm looking out there, and I notice a light flashing. Once a second. It goes flash, flash, flash. And I'm watching it, and I notice that it's moving with the space shuttle. I can see city lights down below. It's not down on Earth. This thing is moving with us. So I'm thinking, what great fortune. Here I am, Don Thomas, my first mission, my first day in space, and I'm making contact with the aliens. I watched this for about 10 minutes, and I finally realized what I was looking at. And what it was, it turned out to be a chunk of ice that had come off our engine for the shuttle. And this piece of ice was floating in the air like that. Kind of like a comet, but just a chunk of ice, and it had a flat side to it. And when the sunlight would hit it, it was like a mirror giving you that flash. So what I thought was an alien turned out to be a chunk of ice. Now, usually we see funny things up in space, but usually you can explain them away. If you study it. If I had quit looking at that 10 minutes earlier, I would be standing here today telling you a totally different story. That, oh yeah, I saw an alien, he was signaling me, and then he disappeared. So we see a lot of weird things, but we can usually explain them away. But I do believe the universe is so huge. you know, that there is other life out there. Behind the area of the disk of the full moon, so when you see the full moon at night, in that small part of the sky, there's 15,000 galaxies. And these galaxies are evenly distributed. So every small part of the sky is 15,000 galaxies. Each galaxy is 10 billion stars, and we think each star has multiple planets around it. So given all these galaxies, all these stars, all these planets, I do believe there's other life out there, but we have not seen it yet, but we're still looking. Jacob?
Was a rare training salamander a male or a male or female?
The salamander?
Yeah.
That was it, yeah. Japanese red-bellied newt, they were all females.
I used to have a blue belly lift when I was a baby, but it screamed out of me because I thought I had to let it put that is wrong.
Yeah.
Like caught out because there was a little opening.
Ours were in a little canister so they could not escape because we didn't want salamanders.
Yeah. Where did those huge engines go?
Okay, where do those huge engines fall? Let me go back to that. That's a really good question. I'll show you that picture one more time. Yeah. Whoops. Right here. So they fall off, they land in the Atlantic Ocean about 150 miles off the coast of Cape Canaveral there. So about 150 miles from our launch pad. So they separate, they go up, and then they come down. They have parachutes in their nose section that'll open. And again, these land in the Atlantic Ocean. And NASA would have ships there to recover them. Great.
Once they fall, do they keep burning fuel or do they just
Once they separate, do they keep burning fuel? And yeah, you can see the flame is still burning here, but that flame will go out pretty quickly, and it'll stop burning before it hits the water. Okay? Yeah.
I remember the one when you were talking about female girls.
Yep.
And I remember when I was reading about space. I remember that
What's taller? Yeah. What is your name? Patrick? Patrick just mentioned that he was reading about Mars, and Mars has a huge volcano on it. It's called Olympus Mons. And Mount Everest is 27,000 feet. It's about 5 miles high. The one on Mars, I think, is 15 miles high. So there's a huge volcano on Mars. Mars also has a big canyon. Have you guys ever been to the Grand Canyon? The Grand Canyon is about 200 miles long, and it's about a mile deep. Mars has a canyon that's 1,500 miles long and about 10 miles deep. So the biggest canyon in the whole solar system that we know about is on Mars. The tallest volcano, the tallest mountain anywhere is also on Mars. So pretty exciting. Yeah, you know a lot about that. That's great. Jack? You sure? If you think about it.
Brother probably answered it.
Okay, how about over here?
How long does it take for them to fall?
How long does it take for them to fall? They separate when we're about 25 miles up. They keep going up for a few more minutes and then they come back down. So I'm guessing it would take maybe 10 minutes for them to hit the ocean again. Okay? Yeah. Yeah.
Out of the space missions that you've done, have you ever gone a spacesuit and gone outside the?
Yeah, my 4 missions, we didn't have any planned spacewalk.
Okay.
When I was trained to go out, they always send they train 2 astronauts to go out if there's a problem.
Yeah.
If you need to fix something. So I was trained, I spent many hundreds of hours underwater practicing for all that, but I never got to go out. I was always hoping for some small, non-life-threatening event that would send me out. That didn't happen on my missions. Yes?
Can you say something about all the products that we have today because of the space program? I mean, just to name a handful.
You know, we've got a lot of spin-offs. You know, one of the famous ones from the Apollo program, we had lunar drills. So they would drill into the lunar surface, and so they came up with like the cordless drill, the battery packs for that. You know, some of those early designs, you know, allowed us to have our dust busters. I'm showing my age here, but other handheld, you know, products like that have rechargeable batteries on. we developed new metals that will stand high temperatures. Rich, any other spin-offs that you can name? CAT scan? CAT scan, there's a lot of
Aren't
technology.
the road dishes made off of the shells that were on the front of the first space rocket?
What kind of dishes?
The Corel.
The Corel?
That were, they were a spin-off.
Yeah,
of the
special high
Files.
temperature, you can put them in the oven, right? Bake
Yeah.
those. Yeah, you know, I think this is the greatest spin-off of the space program that has no economic benefit, that's not readily visible. But I think the greatest the greatest spin-off of our space program is how it excites young students. I watched that astronaut go up and I said, I want to do that. So I worked hard, I stayed in college 10 years. Got my bachelor's degree, my master's, and my doctorate. I pay a lot of taxes today because of that big motivation, that inspirational moment. So I think our space program, the greatest spin-off for me is the effect that it has on young students. It's a really good investment for our country, I think. How about right here?
What part was a part?
What was your favorite part of your mission?
My favorite part of my favorite part of my mission, the launch was pretty exciting. It's like going on a great roller coaster. But looking out the window at the Earth was my favorite part. And one time I happened to be in space when there was a really bright comet visible. It was called Comet Hale-Bopp. It was 20 years ago. And my first day in space, the sun sets, the sky is black, and I could see the comet there. And I watched it for about 15 seconds, and it got lower and lower and lower. And
As it was hitting the sun, it melted because it's only a ball of ice.
it's a ball of ice, and it disappeared behind the limb of the Earth, and it went out. And I'm just staring at the blackness of space, and I said to myself, wow, I've just seen a comet set. I'd seen moon sets, I'd seen sunsets, but to watch a comet set behind the limb of the Earth was really cool. And the coolest part of it was 90 minutes later, I could see it again, and again, and again. Every orbit of the Earth, you could watch that. Was there one in the back? Yeah.
I was just curious, I know you're from Washington, that's where you're from?
I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, and I live in Baltimore today.
Okay. So is this do you do lectures like this across the country, or what is your goal?
Yeah, I left NASA 10 years ago, and I decided I wanted to do something in education. So I joined, it was a university called Towson University. It was one of the Maryland state schools in Baltimore there. They hired me to go out in schools in Maryland with the whole goal of getting young students excited about math and science careers. So I did that for 8 years. My contract with them ran out 2 years ago, so now I just freelance. I go to schools. I got invited by the Sequoia Parks Conservancy to come out here. I go to the Kennedy Space Center and do programs. So it's really my second passion is
Mainly focusing on young people?
mainly focus on young people. That's my passion because it changed my life. You know, it motivated me, it inspired me so much that I know that power of inspiration. Once you have your students inspired to do something, you don't have to keep pushing them. Nobody had to say, Don, go study, Don, go study. I was going to go for this. So I see the power of that, and that's just what I hope that maybe I can influence the students just a little bit. So I mainly talk to young students. We just did a session here, a little hands-on activity with looking at liquids in space. These were 5, 6, and 7-year-olds. That's a pretty challenging group to be doing science experiments with, but they were amazing. So I speak to all grade levels and senior citizens. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your educational background and also what you did to prepare to get hired by NASA?
Okay, the educational background, there's 2 types of astronauts. We have our military pilots that fly the shuttle, and typically they have a bachelor's degree, a 4-year college degree in engineering, and then they need to have 2,000 to 3,000 hours of jet flying experience. And then the other type of astronauts are mission specialists. That's what I am, like a science astronaut. And then the requirement there is to have a 4-year college degree in math, science, engineering, or the medical field, and you need 4 years of work experience. That's the bare minimum requirements. But there's a lot of competition. So I knew I can't just go into it with the bare minimum requirements. And I stayed in college, I got my master's and my doctorate in engineering. There's no one field that NASA likes the best. Some people think you need to be an aerospace engineer. Well, that's not true. NASA selects some aerospace engineers, but they select chemists and biologists and physicists and astronomers. We've got some medical doctor astronauts. We even had a few that were veterinarians because we fly animals on many of our missions as well. Right now, our young students, maybe something in geology, thinking about we're going to Mars, that would be a good background. If I was, their age, and I was interested in being an astronaut, I would do a little bit of studying in geology just to learn about the history of Mars and Mars rocks, things like that. So after my 10 years of university, I got out and started working, and then I started applying to NASA, and it took me 4 tries over a period of about 10 years. But it's very competitive. NASA just selected 12 new astronauts about a month ago. There were 18,000 applications, and NASA selects 12. So you have to kind of distinguish yourself somehow. So I took flying lessons. I got my pilot's license. I learned to skydive. I learned to scuba dive. I taught a university course. Those are all things that weren't requirements, but they seemed to help along the way. And every time NASA turned me down, I realized, well, I got to do more. I got to do more. I can't stay the same, because if they didn't like me last time, they're not going to like me 2 years from now. So I kept trying to improve my background a little bit. Peter, yeah, why don't you help me pick?
I'm just wondering, it made me nostalgic, but you said you were on Discovery, right?
I was on Discovery.
Which is at the Smithsonian?
Discovery's at the Smithsonian right now.
And we know
And Columbia
but
came
so
apart.
I'm wondering, since you're sort of nearby, do you go and visit Discovery?
Space Shuttle Discovery is at the Air and Space Museum. It's about an hour and a half from my house. So whenever I have friends or family come to Washington to visit me, I take them down there to see it.
Yeah.
And I stand there and I say, that's my space shuttle.
Yeah.
It's not mine, right? But I tell people.
So basically, when we all come and visit
When
you,
you go, we all come on down there.
Yeah,
Let me
Jasper,
see.
could you tell them about what happened to your space shuttle? Because I know Mike used to, but a lot of these may not know what actually happened to you.
Yeah, on Space Shuttle Columbia, right here, the space shuttles were unique because we used them over and over again. After they would land, we'd get them ready and get new rocket engines and fly them a second time, third time, fourth time. So it was designed to be reusable. And what happened on one of the missions, the big orange fuel tank that we showed you earlier, it's covered with foam insulation, like you may have in your attic at home. And a piece of that foam, just a small piece, maybe a couple feet across, broke off and it hit the edge of the wing right there. It bounced off and it created a hole, maybe a foot across. And when the space shuttle was coming back to land back at Earth again, heat got in there and melted off the wing. It disintegrated, broke up into a million parts over Dallas, Texas. And the space shuttle was destroyed. All 7 astronauts died on that mission. So it was a Columbia mission, 5 missions after this one, after I landed on my last flight. So.
Do you get cold in space?
Wow. Did I get cold in space? This is a really great question. People ask me, is it hot or cold up there? How many of you think it's hot in space?
0.
How many of you think it's cold? We're all right. Okay? In the sunlight in space, it's really hot. It's about 250 degrees Fahrenheit. At nighttime, when the sun sets, it gets very, very cold, minus 200 degrees. So as you orbit the Earth every hour and a half, there's 45 minutes when it's super hot, 45 minutes when it's super cold. So the space shuttle is covered with these little bricks, we call them tiles, special material to protect us from the heat and the cold in space. That was a great, great question. How about right here? My favorite part was looking out the window. And something I like to look out the window, I told you, to see the comet there, but something else I like looking for was shooting stars. You guys ever see shooting stars?
Yeah.
I went to Dark Sky Festival. Last year, there was a huge shooting star just came across the sky when I just got out to the big parking lot there. But we see shooting stars from space. Here on Earth, when you want to see a shooting star, where do you look? You look up at the sky. When you're in space and you want to see a shooting star, guess where you look?
Out the
You're going to
window.
look back down at Earth. And on my first mission, I'm looking at city lights there as we were passing overhead. And I saw a little zip of light go by. And at first I said, what was that? And then I realized, oh, it's a shooting star. But I'm just above the shooting stars. We're in the space shuttle, we're 200 miles above the Earth, and these little meteorites that are coming in that are burning up are entering 20, 30, 40 miles above. Okay.
Is it true that NASA are trying to make Mars like able to provide life in case something happens to Earth?
Are we trying to make Mars capable of sustaining life on Earth? And that would be very hard to do. Let me show you a few pictures of Mars. We're hoping to send astronauts there in the future. So we hope to send astronauts in the future, but Mars does not have much of an atmosphere. It's got 1/1000, so just a small fraction of our atmosphere Mars has, and most of their atmosphere is carbon dioxide, not oxygen. So there's almost no water. There's a little bit of ice underneath the soil. So from ice we can get water, from water we can split it up and get oxygen, but there's not many resources here. So it would be really difficult to get Mars suitable for life again. We barely know how to take care of planet Earth, right? We don't know what we're doing. We've got climate change going on, but we don't know how to control that here. Mars would be really difficult. You'd have to bring in a lot of oxygen. 4 billion years ago, Mars had a tremendous amount of water that created this huge canyon that I told you about. Big lakes, rivers on Mars. But that all disappeared. What happened? We don't know. So we don't know yet how to change a planet like Mars to make it habitable. So when we send astronauts there, they're going to have to live inside their capsules or habitats and put on spacesuits to come out onto the surface. Okay? And you guys know who these are 20 years in the future when we send astronauts to Mars. Do you know who these astronauts are, the first to set foot on Mars? Okay. Not me? Wait a minute. Why not me, Peter?
You can be their boss.
I'm too old to go to Mars. 20 years from now, I'm going to be 82. Okay? NASA's not sending me to Mars. I'm too old to go to Mars. I'm going to whisper this. Your parents are too old to go to Mars. Don't say anything about it. And never ever repeat this at school, but your teachers are too old to go to Mars. But you guys are the perfect age to be these astronauts going to Mars in the future. Okay? We got more time yet?
As much as you
Okay.
want.
How about over here? What's your name? William. He knows a lot about space. I know this is going to be a tough question. Maybe I better sit down. Go ahead, William. Okay? What?
I know one of
What's the other galaxy called? There's a Carwheel galaxy. There's one called the Andromeda galaxy. And with a pair of binoculars here on Earth, you can see it. It's a little fuzzy patch in the sky. But you can see a few other galaxies from Earth with a pair of small binoculars. Okay, how about over here?
I've read about Mars.
You read about Mars.
I've known from my Mars that some people send robots to Mars to find stuff.
Yeah, we've got rovers driving around Mars right now. We've sent 4 rovers to Mars. 2 of them are still driving around. 2 of them are dead, stuck in the sand. But there's one that's been driving around for almost, I think, 15 years. And another one that's just been up there about 5 years. No humans have been on Mars yet, but we've got rovers driving around there. Okay? How about over, let me come over here and then I'll come back. Yeah. Yeah, Seattle has an Air and Space Museum there as well. The one that where Space Shuttle Discovery is called the Air and Space Museum. It's in Washington, D.C. But Seattle's got one up there as well. Boeing built a lot of the airplanes. Okay, right here, my favorite planet. Now, when I was your age, I would tell people, my favorite planet, I would tell them I love Saturn. I think the rings of Saturn are beautiful. Can anybody guess what my favorite planet is today? It's the Earth. This is one beautiful planet that we live on. And I showed you a picture of a sunrise from space, and I thought, boy, the sunrise is just so beautiful from space. And then I came back from my mission And that night, when I got back home to my house in Houston, Texas, I watched a beautiful sunset, and the whole sky lit up with the orange and red color. And it just made me realize, you know, the sunsets are really beautiful here. You just get used to them. And sometimes you have to leave your planet and come back to realize how beautiful it is. But Earth is a beautiful, beautiful planet. Sequoia National Park, you're not going to find a place more beautiful than that. Or Kings Canyon or Yosemite or the Pacific Ocean that we have here. It is such a beautiful world we have here. That's why we need to take better care of this place. Because there's only one of these. And if something bad happens to our planet, we have nowhere to go right now. So, okay, last question right here.
Do you ever meet Armstrong?
Did I ever meet Neil Armstrong? Neil Armstrong was from the state of Ohio, and that's where I grew up. So he was always a hero of mine. He was the first man on the moon, right? 48 years ago yesterday, he set foot on the moon. So he was always one of my heroes. And I wrote him a letter for my third mission. We're allowed to invite some VIPs to come to the launch. So I wrote to Neil Armstrong and I told him my name and I said, I'm one of the Ohio astronauts. And I said, you were always a hero of mine as a young boy and I wanted to invite you to my launch. He wrote back and said, I'll be there. And I was so surprised, like Neil Armstrong's coming to my launch. I was so excited. And the day before our launch, I got a call from NASA management and they said, hey Don, Mr. Armstrong wants to meet with you. So I got to spend an hour one-on-one with Neil Armstrong the day before my launch. And at the end of the hour, I was saying goodbye to him. I shook his hand and I said, hey, thank you for coming. It means so much that you're here. And I asked him, I said, Mr. Armstrong, how long are you staying in town for? Meaning, how long are you going to be in Florida? And he looked me right back in the eye and he said, how long are you in town for? Meaning he was going to stay there until I launched. And to have him say something like that was just amazing. We launched on time the next day. And I got to meet him maybe another 10 times or so, you know, through my career. I met John Glenn, first American to orbit the Earth. I met all of the guys who walked on the moon. It's really an amazing opportunity that I've had. But I think meeting Neil Armstrong was one of the coolest things I've done in my life. I've flown in space 4 times, and I would put a little bit above those 4 trips the opportunity to spend an hour with Neil Armstrong. Okay. Hey, thank you guys very much. One last thing. We'll be at the College of Sequoia
Yes.
tonight. You want to mention about that? Or?
College of Sequoia is another presentation tonight at 7:30 p.m. It's $10 for adults, $5 for kids, and it all benefits Sequoia National Park.
And we're going to be doing a talk about the day a woodpecker attacked the space shuttle. It's a silly talk. I guarantee you won't have a good time.
And Don's going to stay here for pictures. So if you want to take pictures with Don, there's pictures here.